Hello and welcome to Ndifunukwazi's podcast. I'm your host, Zakaria Mashele. On this episode, we will talk about Site B, a piece of land on the foreshore. This was public land until the City of Cape Town undersold it to a property development company known as Growth Point. This is everything you need to know about Site B. On Tuesday, the 2nd of July, Site B matter will be tabled at Goodwood Municipal Planning Tribunal. In the studio, we have our guests, Nkosazana Sorpoy and Mpora Boyane from Ndifunukwazi. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Quickly, Nkosazana, can you please tell us the history about Site B?
So, Site B site is located on the foreshore of Cape Town. It's one of the last remaining pieces of land from what used to be a power station in Cape Town that was subdivided around, in the 90s, 1996 up to 2001. It used to be public land. It's now sold, auctioned to Growth Point Properties for 86.5 million rand. We have discovered in 2016 that the bulk rights that they had were not allowing of them to build a skyscraper, which is a building that's very tall, that the rights that they bought the site for 86.5 million only allowed them to build on a normal size according to the buildings that are surrounding the Site B site. It's now going to be had at the MPT because the Growth Point company claims to have more rights than it bought the site for. And we are saying if that's the case, then that means the City of Cape Town has lost us up to 140 million that could have been used for basic services and building housing in Cape Town.
Okay, so now crossing over to Mpora Boyane. So quickly, Mpo, for those who have not been following the sale, could you share with our audience as to why this matter will be had at the MPT on Tuesday morning?
All right, so thank you, Zach. Just to reiterate on what my colleague Nkosazana had said, Growth Point has put in a development application in which they're proposing to build a mixed-use development, basically meaning that this building is going to be used as a hotel, have retail departments, and it will also have some business offices as well. So now, in this application, Growth Point, as Nkosazana had said, is claiming to have up to 46,000 square meters of permissible floor area, right? And those are the bulk rights. And as you would remember from Nkosazana's introduction, the sale documents from the auction actually only limit the available bulk rights to 17,500 square meters. So there's this big question around which is the correct bulk amount that Growth Point actually possesses. The city is of the view that they only have the 17,500, whereas Growth Point and other supporting documents actually show that they may actually have the 46,000 square meters that they're claiming to have. And if that is the case, then they did buy the site for a value way less than it was worth.
So what was unusual about this auction?
All right, so Zach, this will need me to take you back to 2016. You'll remember that on the 7th of September 2016, Growth Point purchased this site on auction. Following that, they put in a development application which was to be heard at the MPT. And I think that's the first time that Ndifunukwazi actually picked up a certain discrepancy around the amounts paid for the site as well as the disputed bulk rights. So back then, when we looked at some of the supporting documents, that's the substitution scheme and the title deed or the deed of transfer, we saw that the combined bulk for AB minus the built-up area, which is now the icon, right, leaving Site B, meant that Growth Point may actually have the 46,000 square meters that they claim to have. If that is the case, as I said before, then they had bought the site for a value much lower than fair market value, remember, because the value is determined per square meter of permissible floor area. So then we alerted the city manager at the time. We also reached out to the press at the time, alerting them to this discrepancy. This initiated a forensic investigation, which was called for by the then mayor, Patricia de Lille, and acted on by the city manager, Lungelo Mbandazayo. I think my colleague Swartboy will be able to tell you more about where the investigation sits at the moment.
So Nkosikazi, as Mpho has just said right now, do you know where the forensic investigation sits right now?
So the then mayor of Cape Town, Patricia de Lille, had set up this forensic investigation last year after we discovered and actually made a lot of noise with our partner Reclaim the City, a movement that's advocating for inner city or located housing. She set up this forensic investigation to actually find out what had happened with Site B, as we had allegations in terms of Ian Nelson, the deputy mayor, who was then in charge of the asset management and having an obligation of having an oversight on this sale, actually did not pick up that the site was undersold, for that it had more rights than what's called Growth Point bought it for. The forensic investigation was conducted by, we were informed by the city manager that it was conducted by senior MACO members. And that for me is problematic because, one, you cannot get the same governance, structure of governance to investigate itself. This ought to have been investigated by an independent body that, cannot be biased towards anyone in this instance. But I just want to alert you to just maybe two things that I think are problematic with how land is being commodified in Cape Town, not specifically this one. You'd remember that Cape Town is one of the cities that was highly affected by the apartheid spatial planning, that many black and colored people were forcefully removed out of the city so as to allow only white people to exist and to stay here. We know what happened to the District 6 community, which was a very diverse community with black, white, Indian, colored, everyone from, it had a lot of people from different backgrounds and different races. And in the middle of that housing crisis that we're facing now, that land is being commodified in a sense that the city of Cape Town is continuing to sell land to the private sector, stripping us of the last remaining pieces of land that could be used for affordable housing. In South Africa currently, we have progressive laws and policies that actually do allows for government to use its assets, including land, as a measure of addressing inequality. And we have identified well-located land in Cape Town to be one of the effective tools that could be used to address inequality, spatial inequality in Cape Town, as we are living with the apartheid spatial planning that has pushed black and colored people out of the city. It is important to note that this is an example of how the city of Cape Town understands and uses its well-located pieces of land. Land is being commodified and not being seen for its social value. The city of Cape Town is selling land in Cape Town now, claiming to generating funds to build affordable housing in the on the outskirts of Cape Town, and to have enough money to deliver. To bring about service delivery to people. We do not know what happened with this 86.5 million. It's also another question we have in terms of how and where was it used? Was it used for basic services, as they claim that they're selling land to generate more money to deliver services for people who are poor and building housing? Nkosikazi is working closely with the Reclaim the City movement, and what brings us together is the belief that land should be used for people, not for profit.
So Mpho, where to from here?
Thanks, Zach. So tomorrow, on the 2nd of July, we will be going to the MPT, Goodwood. As you said in your introduction, Growth Point will be there to try get its application for development approved. We will be going there in the public interest just to follow up on our objections, which was mainly based on this question of fact. We're asking the MPT how it can possibly decide on the allocation of bulk rights and all other development rights when it is not clear on the fact of how much or how much permissible floor area the development already has, right? This question, I think we've explained the confusion around it, but this question is central to the determination of approval of development applications, because one of the things that flow from an approval is the development right and the bulk right to build up, right? So if Growth Point is correct in saying it already has all the permissible floor area it needs to build this particular development, then it's very worrying for us, because there may be no in for the MPT to impose conditions of building, right? Where we would have then asked the MPT to fulfill its duty and obligations as an instrument of the city to advance spatial justice and to redress the ills brought on the city by the apartheid segregated planning, right? And this we do by asking the MPT to impose conditions of affordable housing in these exclusionary developments. If we can't do that in this case, then it would be a huge loss for our cause for spatial justice and for remedying the wrongs and the ills that have been imposed and the inequality that have been imposed on people of color and those who can't afford to live in well-located areas. Tomorrow we'll also be asking the MPT to acknowledge that it has the powers to impose such conditions, because as you may know, in all our objections work, one of the main oppositions we come up against is the MPT's unwillingness to take up its rightful place as having the power and authority to impose reasonable conditions, which may include inclusionary housing, affordable housing contributions, be it on-site, be it off-site, or be it a payment of money in lieu of an actual affordable housing component to the development.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. That was quite insightful. To all our interested listeners on this matter, you can join us at the Municipal Planning Tribunal in Goodwood on Tuesday morning, or you can send us an email, contact@nu.org.za, or you can follow us on social media at Mfunukwazi to stay updated. Till next time, bye for now.